Da da. There we go. Hello, welcome to the Electric Metropolis video game tour. I'm AD Stringer, also known as Corbinian, and because my computer stream did not go well today, and we weren't able to play Old World like I was planning, I did want to give you something for my first stream of the week, and something just gave me the idea to play Call of Chthulu. Been curious about it earlier than I wanted to. I was going to wait till a bit deeper into summer, but I'm in a mood for it. It's late at night. It's dark where I am. So, also, I'm speaking a little quieter because my partner is sleeping. And if I get all loud and excited, it will be a problem. So, I'll be talking a little quieter. All I know is this is based off of the cosmic horror stories of Lovecraft. And this is produced by, or some approval by, Chaosium, the people who do the Call of Cthulhu board game. I made it is, but tabletop board game, tabletop role-playing game, and which I really do want to play. I played it once, many years ago. So, why not play a first-person shooter with horror in the dark? First chapter. Pierce Investigation Agency, Boston, 1924. Edward Pierce, veteran of the First World War, drowns his memories in liquor and sleeping pills. He is now a private detective who has traveled finding a case able to lift him from his torpor. Pierce must find a new case quickly or risk losing his license. Enter madness. If I am mad, it is mercy. May the gods pity the man who, in his callousness, can remain sane to the hideous end. H.P. Lovecraft. Okay. So immediately covered in blood and terror and disgusting viscera and a shark. And he passed out because sharks are scary. Might also smell terrible. I'm not doing any movement. This is purely the cutscene. Game saved. Oh wow. I did so well. I got the... Look at me. Speedrun. Go. Alright. Move with L. Okay. This was originally released on the PS4, but I'm playing it on my PS5 because that's what I'm streaming out of. Light. Outdoors. It's foggy. Lots of lighting, at least. Someone butchering fish? Sharks? Okay. To crouch, press circle? What if I don't want to go that way? What if I want to go this way? Well, I need a bolt cutter, chain cutter. So I'm going to do as far as I can. I don't think I'll do this for the full week. So we'll get as far as we can. If I super like it, I might play it longer. But I am a chicken when it comes to horror games. I'm a chicken when it comes to non-horror games. Looks like stuff over there. So we'll also go counter darkness. You must light up some items in order to interact with them. Oh. Okay. That's a lantern. We'll go as far as I can for a few hours. Hurricane lamp. Okay. Hey, bolt cutters. Yeah. I get very scared, very disturbed. It's fun for little bits when I'm in the mood for a bit of horror, a bit of creep, a bit of looking around. Just have to be in the mood. The right headspace for it, you know? If I'm not, I'm not. And when I am, I am. So why not? Yeah, it's that easy. I know it's a game, so.
In my wake, hold along. Fate inescapably draws you on.
Okay. Who said that? Yeah, I'm mildly familiar with Cthulhu lore. Because I ran a... I'll open this up just in case I need to run away. No? Okay. I ran a... back in the D20 modern days, I ran a Cthulhu game. Like, I added some madness rules. I pulled from Cthulhu and read up a lot about the monsters, like Colors Out of Space, learned about Hast and the Man in Yellow and so on. Read some of the... well, listen to, rather, some of the some short stories. Never dove deep into it. I just know the monsters and the video games, and that is a lot of dead fish. A lot of wasted meat. I agree. Glad you have taste, whoever you are. Mysterious voice.
Don't fight. You have been chosen.
To run, hold down L2, like this? Okay. I have no reason to run, so I'm not going to. Running draws attention.
Behold.
Ooh, cultists.
Everything has already been written.
Eyeless cultists. A man with a gun.
Perhaps you will attempt to change your destiny.
Ooh. Mr. Policeman is dead. Oh, he's looking at me now. And that's a nightmare, everybody.
I hate whiskey.
Then why do you drink it? My private detective agency contracted to the Wentworth Detective Agency. After the Great War, I decided to set up in Boston, where there's no lack of work for guys like me. One small-time case follows the other. Adultery, settled scores, disappearances that are not actually disappearances. The old office couch is less comfortable than a real bed. I should probably get rid of these empty bottles. You really should. Those are dangerous. But this place is mine. For the moment. Ooh, we have skills. Ooh. Professional strength. Represents your ability to call your physical power. Improving the skill increases your chances of forcing doors or mechanisms, or of using violence, physical or verbal. Verbal violence? During interactive discussions. A novice in medicine. Medicine represents your medical knowledge. Improving this skill increases your chances of determining dosage of a drug, of making a diagnosis, or of expressing your understanding of a medical problem. Occultism represents, which I am a novice, I know nothing, represents your knowledge of the occult sciences. Occult sciences seems a bit oxymoronic, but alright. Improving the skill increases your chances of determining the use and origin of occult artifacts. And of expressing your knowledge of the myth. The medicine and occult skills can only be improved by objects discovered. Okay. Psychology. Amateur. An amateur. Psychology represents your knowledge of the human behavior. Improving this skill increases your chances of understanding the motivations of a person based on his or her behavior or on the analysis of objects. Spot hidden represents ability to find hidden objects. Improving the skill increases your chances of finding hidden objects. An undiscovered object will not appear in-game. Ooh, I like that. And eloquence, an amateur, represents ability to influence those you talk to by your power of speech. Improving the skill increases chance of convincing or manipulating during discussion. That's my sanity. Nightmares. Edward Pierce is a veteran of the First World War, where he took part in the Meuse Argonne Initiative offensive. He is one of the few survivors of the Lost Battalion, American units that suffered heavy losses from enemy and Allied artillery fire, forced to hold their position for several days, surrounded by the bodies of fallen comrades, without food or medical supply. The soldiers were considered as lost by their fellow countrymen. Pierce is traumatized by these events. He consumes sleeping pills and liquor to ward off the nightmares that haunt him. Shell shock, yeah. Or in modern parlance, PTSD. Fun. Confident in your abilities in your Cartesian mind. You conduct your investigation by sticking to the facts, your convictions, and perception of reality. Your conclusions are logical and reliable. The case. The doctor can well repeat to me that I no longer need my remedy to keep my memories at bay, but I know that if I stop, the memories will return. One of these mornings, I probably won't wake up. Despite the treatment, I again hear voices in my dreams, but they are different, unknown. They seem to surface from the unfathomable and ancient depths. What nameless creature is calling to me? Lighter, Lost Battalion 10718. My old lighter that I engraved in memory of the 77th Infantry Division and the men of the Lost Battalion who fell. Dinged up rusty thing, but hey, takes gas and it lights.
The Wentworth Agency doesn't attract top-notch cases.
1924.
I used to be an avid reader.
Evidently. Look at those books. Encyclopedias. What is that? Something Voyager? California to Alaska. Pawing through my own files.
Married woman runs off with her girlfriend. The husband couldn't understand it.
The husband never understood that his wife had left him. He kept on calling me weeks after the investigation had been closed. For Mr. Pierce. Case closed.
Been too long since I've slept in a bed. I wonder why I still take these things.
Ooh, blue bottle, indicating it's a special, this is old style pharmaceuticals. As I recall, blue bottles were used to indicate dangerous materials like poisons and such. That way, on a glance, a pharmacist or chemist would know, hey, that's this kind of thing, without even if the label fell off. The doctors prescribed them when I returned from the war. They swore they would put an end to the nightmare, but for a while now, their effect has been wearing off. Thing in my eye. There we go. Let's not sit down to work yet.
I should get rid of all this stuff.
Just be old cases. City map. Map of the terminal. Oh, we're in Boston. Oh, this is Boston. Okay.
I should get rid of all this stuff. Natural sciences, linguistics, archaeology.
I like your reading.
A good old story of blackmail in a speakeasy.
The bar owner who hired me didn't like the way I closed this case. But when you're already outside of the law, there's not a lot one can do against a private detective who's got proof against you.
Been a while since I jotted down something other than my nightmares.
Despite the treatment, I again hear voices in my dreams. But they are different, unknown. They seem to surface from unfathomable and ancient depths. You can do without a drink today. I think you've had enough. Bright day. See why you draw the blinds. Nope. Phone. 1 second. Hello.
I'm listening.
Are you Edward Pierce, private investigator contracted by the Wentworth Detective Agency?
That's correct.
Hello, Mr. Pierce. I'm Lucy Sherifield, in charge of investigators over at Wentworth.
Oh.
I'm calling because of a problem with your file. A fire has destroyed some of our documents.
Is that right?
I'm so very sorry, but I have to collect your personal information yet again.
Oh, pain. Allocate your character points. Oh, investigation. Professional. Investigation represents your investigating talent. Improving the skill increases your chance of understanding past events by analyzing a crime scene or an object and of picking locks. Well, I would lean into my psychology knowledge. And my eloquence. Oh, I see. Professional psychology and professional eloquence. Options. Validate. Yes. Yeah, I'm fine.
This information, Mr. Pierce, our files will soon be up to date. And on a related matter, may I raise a sensitive question?
What's wrong?
As you know, we wish to closely monitor the progress of our contract.
I almost dropped my drink.
And it would seem you've been accepting fewer new cases.
That's bad.
Work is scarce.
Mr. Pierce, you know as well as I do, there's never been more investigative work than now.
But are those cases worth it?
They're worth not losing your license.
Mm-hmm.
Show yourself worthy of the Wentworth detective agency, and we might keep you on the payroll. Mr. Pierce, are you still...
I'm coming.
I say come in. Rude. Artist.
Sir, I came here on the advice of a person whom I hold in high esteem. And I must say that I expected anything but a drunkard's lair.
Can I help you? The door's over there unless you have something to tell.
You're free to leave anytime, sir.
Exactly.
Do you know to whom you speak?
A rude
Stephen
man.
Webster, industrialist and art collector. All of Boston knows you.
Tell me, Mr. Pierce, are you capable of handling a new case, or are you simply a deadbeat inebriate?
If you come to me, it means you're desperate.
Nobody believes me. They take me for an old fool.
Perhaps you are.
Sarah, my little girl. She is dead.
Oh, I'm sorry for your
Even
loss.
you must know of her. She was Sarah Hawkins.
The painter? Yes. Everyone knows her work.
Oh.
The police accuse her of killing her family. They
Whoa.
all died in a fire. Sarah, her husband, and Simon, my grandson.
I can't do anything for a woman who is already dead.
Find out the truth. They say she was mad, but I know that's a lie. She would never have done such a thing.
But if you have no proof...
I've brought all that I have. Look.
A painting.
I want you to look carefully at this painting. Tell me all the assumptions that come to mind.
All right.
What am I supposed to find?
Tell me if this is the work of madness. Or if, on the contrary, you manage to detect some logic, a rationality to follow so that I may understand it.
Is that all you want from me?
Yes, please.
All right. I'll look at your picture. That's all you've got? The painting?
I placed a file on your desk. It contains everything I have on the affair.
Oh. A strange picture, painted by Sarah Hawkins a short while before her tragic death, was sent to her father just after the artist died. He is convinced that she is the sender. He brought me the painting so I could examine it. Stephen Webster, the wealthy industrialist, came to my office. He wants to reopen the Sarah Hawkins case, named after his daughter, who died in a fire alongside her entire family. I must examine the documents he compiled in order to know more about the case.
A warehouse on Darkwater. Some sketches of the Hawkins family. Rather thin.
A shipping label. Some of it is unreadable, but I can make out part of the address. Warehouse 36, Darkwater. Police report. It says the fire started in the dining room and claimed the whole family. Police decide on domestic accident, but nevertheless insist Hawkins, Sarah, her mental frailty. Why? So they have no evidence to that effect? They just presume? That's dangerous and shoddy police work. Investigative work, if anything. Press cutting. Article written about marriage of Sarah and Charles Hawkins, businessman from Island of Darkwater. Live a recluse life with their only son, Simon.
What's this symbol on the man's chest? It's as if Sarah Hawkins breathed a message into it.
So, Mr. Pierce, what do you make of these elements?
Ooh.
The meaning could be exactly as it appears. I think your daughter is sending you a message.
That's what I believe, too. It was 3 months ago that I received the call from the police telling me of my daughter's death. And yet a short while after, this painting was delivered to my home. The painting is linked to this case, can't you see? You must find the meaning behind all this.
Her husband was a big deal on the island. But the police are sticking to the accident theory. Though they mentioned Sarah's mental state was fragile. I believe you are right, sir. This case is not as simple as it appears.
I am aware of that. I believe there is more to this case than just an accident.
Darkwater. Never heard of the place. Where is that?
It's a small, remote island off the coast of Boston. Sarah lived there with her son and her husband.
I suppose you want to ship me off there.
Darkwater holds the secret regarding my daughter, Mr. Pierce. You must uncover it.
Sorry, not to be insensitive, but I must ask to be complete.
You must tell me if what the police suggest about the mental state of your daughter is true.
No. Sarah had visions. Everyone knew that. She never would have hurt a fly. She only thought she saw things.
Saw things? What do you mean by that?
I never knew what she meant by that. My daughter was an enigmatic figure, Mr. Pierce. You must find out the truth about her life and death.
Contrary to popular belief, a lot of mental illness, when it gets serious, it's self-harming. It shuts down. And not that I'm an expert, so I'm just a person who's, what's the phrase? I am very much a mental health consumer. That is to say, I have been reading about my own mental health and mental illness since, oh goodness, for 20 years now. Coming on 30. Scary as that is. Because I have my own issues that I deal with, which I won't go into here at the moment, but from what I've read, and what I've been told, a lot of, and what I learned in university a little bit, was that a lot of mental illnesses are self-destructive. They shut you down. They don't tend to lash out at others, and if something, unless it started from there, like if it already was a violent outburst type illness or something of that nature, then it kind of starts from there. It can build into it, but like, yeah, or some of them might be, I guess the police theory they have right now is that Hawkins had, she sees things, ergo her mind was already fragile, ergo she must have lost her senses and burned her home. But it's like, yeah, but that doesn't, you're making a massive leap, because there would be a degradation line. They would get worse, and it would be known, there'd be evidence that it would be getting worse to some degree. Which you would think, if they say, well, her mind's fragile, it's like, well, what's the evidence beyond her seeing things? What's this about the warehouse anyway?
The sender's label mentions Warehouse 36.
That's right. It came with Sarah's last painting.
And you think your daughter could have been the sender?
That is what you must find out. Go to Darkwater. Find Warehouse 36.
I think I'm beginning to understand.
I'm willing to do anything for my daughter to recover her honor.
Anything?
Quiet down. I'm on your side. Let's sum things up. An artist dies with her family in a house fire. Your only clue is a sort of promontory painting sent from Darkwater right before her death.
Correct. And the rumors about her supposed folly.
Which you don't totally deny.
Find that warehouse. Find out the truth regarding Sarah Hawkins' death. You'll be handsomely compensated.
All right. I'll take the case. I'll go to Darkwater and look into the death of your daughter.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. I didn't expect any less coming from a man in your situation.
Do you want my help or not?
Queer, but it's not like I have a choice. Darkwater. I think I've got a book on the North Atlantic. I'll no doubt find some information on this island in there.
Here.
Darkwater is off the coast of Boston. But I've never heard of it. According to this book, it was often mentioned during whale hunting times at the end of the 19th century. But it seems to have been shunned since then.
Darkwater Island has been inhabited since the 14th century and is still rich with the many memories left by its lost tribes. But don't let the romanticism of these moving evidences of such naive and primitive beliefs get rid of you. Primitive beliefs fool you into forgetting how violent their gods were. A gigantic creature still ornates the walls of long-abandoned caves. Was it a sea or dream god? No one knows. But today's inhabitants, the sons and daughters of the proud whale hunters, still remember the mysterious and tumultuous story of the small land off the coasts of Massachusetts.
All I have to do is go to the port. I just hope that I can find a boat able to take me to Darkwater. The Lost Battalion. Holding your position and obeying orders. That isn't courage.
The Learning of Medicine, Volume 1. A dense work aimed at interns and young practitioners. The first volume lists all illnesses known in the civilized world. It details symptoms and suitable treatment. Yeah, medicine score went up a tiny bit. Is there anything else? Ugh. Look at that. Oh, is there anything I'm forgetting? No. I've had drinks in the daytime, but just a good old 2 fingers of whiskey? No thanks. I did not want to start my morning like that. Ugh. The Sarah Hawkins case. Pierce took the Hawkins case. The cursed artist is accused of having caused the fire that killed her and her family. As the only clue, she left her father a disturbing painting. On the shipping label, an address, a warehouse set on the docks of the island of Darkwater. The place seems to be the starting point for Pierce's investigation. Their gods were violent. Okay, some were, I suppose, but like, they're mostly natural forces, you know. Great-grandmother water, sky, or grandmother chipmunk, you know. Oh, that ship would be bobbing a little more than that. Focus Home Interactive presents Fog, the game. Ooh, like your jacket. Aw, you shouldn't smoke, man. It's bad for you. Credits in the sky. See, I say I'm not a big on horror games, but I suppose I do play some, like Fall in London, but that's different, I suppose. I'm creeped out, not spooked or scared. But again,
We're almost there.
thanks, Fitzroy. But, again, you need to be in the mood, right? Man, how could you tell we were almost there? It's so foggy. It's amazing you can see anything at all. Call of Chthulu. Registered trademark. Registered, rather. Well, probably that particular font and so on. Cilia. Looks like a whaling boat to me. Or ship, sorry. It's maritime, I should know better. I keep screwing it up. I haven't spent much time in the water.
Stay on board. There's guys coming to unload. Welcome to Darkwater Island, Mr. Pierce.
Oh, you're saying that to his crew.
Thank you, Captain Fitzroy.
So, what wind brought you?
Does the Hawkins case mean anything to you?
A sad story that we would all prefer to forget. Charles Hawkins may have been a landlubber, but he was a good man.
And his wife, Sarah Hawkins.
A nice young woman, and a great painter. What a tragedy.
Wow, massive whale.
You know what? Go have a drink of the stranded whale. What you need is a good pick-me-up. Mitchell may not be very welcoming, but his bar holds a surprise for you. As for me, you'll find me at the Harbor Master's office.
Harbor Master.
If it's the Hawkins family that brings you here, I have a pile of documents that should interest you.
Oh,
Understood. I'm going for a look around the docks.
why would you have a pile of documents about them? It's weird. At the approaches to Darkwater, I saw thick clouds masking the sky. They were so low, they seemed intent on impaling themselves on the sharp reefs that circled the island. Fitzroy, the captain of the only tub that manages to float to the mainland, offered to help me. That's rude. Fine ship, fine little boat. He may have documents that belong to Charles Hawkins. Fitzroy advised me to visit the port bar. He mentioned a little pick-me-up. Suppose could get the lay of the land at the same time. Fishermen have gathered round the carcass of a killer whale. Could have a look and see what local cops have got to tell me. Fitzroy offered to share with me what he had found on the Hawkins in the archives of the Harbor Master office. I have one character point. We'll save that for another time. Stephen Webster, 63, businessman. Wealthy businessman, well respected in the Boston area. Stephen Webster came to see me in order that I investigate the death of his only daughter, Sarah Hawkins. The man accepts neither refusals nor inconvenient truths. Not a fan of a certain politician in the future. He's ready to do anything to prove that his daughter was not mad. Charles Hawkins, deceased, 41, ship owner. Charles Hawkins was a local celebrity on Darkwater. The heir of a ship owner family. Ship owner family? Huh. He used to travel a lot. Sorry, ship owner family makes me think of someone who, doesn't sail, he just owns ships. But then I think of a modern, I'm picturing like a modern yacht club, yacht owner. I'm a ship owning family. Okay, you own a yacht, but what else do you do? But I get it. Some people own the ships and other people run the ships. Different things. He met Sarah Hawkins during a trip in Paris. They fell in love, got married, and Hawkins took her to the remote island of Darkwater. They had a child named Simon and lived a very secretive life. Sarah Hawkins, deceased, 33, painter. Kind of 10-year difference, a little less than that, not bad. Sarah Hawkins, a painter known for her tortured artistic universe. She was worshipped for the strangeness of her work and the rarity of her public appearances. I seem to remember that she once said, quote, "I paint what my dreams whisper to me," end quote. Her marriage to Charles Hawkins years ago surprised high society columnists. A wealthy Boston heiress, known for her party-going, chooses to follow her new husband and lives a recluse on the island of Darkwater. She disappeared from the front pages of newspapers, and nobody heard any more about her. Even her death in a fire remained a secret. Only her father, Stephen Webster, continues to seek the truth. Simon Hawkins, deceased, age 11, occupation schoolboy, only son of Sarah and Charles Hawkins. He died in the fire that claimed his whole family. Intuitive and visionary artist for some, overpriced imposter for others, Sarah Hawkins leaves nobody indifferent. This mysterious and reserved painter offers strange images, with violent colors and wild strokes, to the world. If her paintings are testimony to her vision of the world, then the world of Sarah Hawkins is a portal open to other dimensions. Extract from the notebook of Edward Pierce, private detective. This painting depicts a monstrous silhouette threatening a woman and child. Flames can be made out in the background. Stephen Webster, father of Sarah Hawkins, thinks that it is linked to the death of his daughter. Let's check out the weird whale gathering.
Hey, Sullivan, can't you go any faster?
You've seen how old this thing is. If we force it too much, we'll break everything.
You can't do that.
But it's only a fish.
A fish? You've got no idea. Don't badmouth what you don't know, or you'll pay for it for sure.
Okay, that's enough. Step back and let us do our job.
That's no way to treat an omen.
Oh, yeah? He's gonna get us into trouble. You can't understand. You're not sailors. It's a sign. There's something coming. Something real bad.
Don't put that beast back in the water, you shysters. You're crazy.
They're cops. They can't understand.
Damn stupid idiots.
Forget it. Nobody listens to us anyway.
That's no way to treat an omen.
Oh, yeah? He's gonna get us into trouble.
The same goes for you, sir. Move along.
I'm looking for this address. Warehouse 36, Darkwater Harbor.
Ah. And so who are you?
I didn't introduce myself. Edward Pierce, private detective.
In any case, it's not very important. I can't answer that.
You can't? Or you don't want to?
Oh, no. I'm not getting into those games, me. Now, please, allow me to do my job. You don't put that beast back in the water, you shysters. You're crazy.
They're cops. They can't understand.
Damn stupid idiots.
Forget it. Nobody listens to us anyway.
That's no way to treat an omen.
Oh, yeah? He's gonna get us into trouble.
The blood is just beginning to coagulate. It died a short time ago. Only a specialist would know what killed it.
Don't put that beast back in the water, you shysters. You're crazy.
They're cops. They can't understand.
So the Green Lanterns. Stranded whale.
Prohibition is just a joke around here. That suits me fine.
There's Pierce at the sign. Wait a minute. Yep, Prohibition hasn't been repealed yet, has it? In the Americas, anyway. Americas? U.S. Morning to you too, bud. Jeez. Whoa.
Hey, be careful.
A little aggressive. Hello.
Let's get him another drink. He's dry.
In my bar, we don't serve troublemakers.
Yet you served this man, and you can't say he's been on his best behavior.
He's a regular. It was you who provoked him by turning up with your mainland manner.
You mistake my manner. I ask nothing more than to become a regular as well, which will be difficult if you refuse to serve me.
I hope you're less talkative when you're drunk.
Try me.
We'll see.
I didn't expect to find alcohol on this island. What's the source of this miracle?
You mean who? Our source of supply wouldn't like me to betray them to the first comer.
I'll tell nobody.
She'd know it anyway. Anything else?
Captain Fitzroy told me about a little pick-me-up.
You want a drink?
I wouldn't say no to a glass.
Try this.
Quick way to buy the good graces of a bartender or any store owner. Buy something.
I think we'll get along well.
This will affect your destiny. Oh no.
The Stranded Whale. I guess this bar has been here a long time.
What can I tell you? I'm a nostalgic sort of guy. The name, it reminds us of the golden age of dock water. When our whalers left for long months and came back, sweating and stinking of the oil and flesh of the whales they'd been hunting.
It was a tough time, all the same.
Ah, but steeped in glory. We've never known such wealth since then.
Yeah, whale parts went for a ton of money. The meat, the fat, the oils, the teeth, the bones, everything was used on a whale. Still is, but problem is overfishing can be an issue. Let's not dive into the thing I need to know about too much.
Do you know where this place is? Warehouse 36, Darkwater Harbor.
The Hawkins warehouse. I see, yeah. If I were you, I wouldn't hang around there.
Oh?
Why not?
First off, there are rumors. Sailors from around here say you can hear noises coming from the warehouse at night. Screams, that sort of thing.
Eee.
Screams.
And that's not all. There's the fate of its owners and all the superstitions that go with it. But I'll say no more. Anything else?
What can you tell me about her?
We all knew she was famous on the mainland for her paintings. Never understood why. Then, I don't want to speak ill of the dead.
You don't dare say a thing because you respect their memory. But that doesn't mean that you don't have a lot on your mind.
You're not a PI for nothing. Okay. I don't know what
How
it's
do you
worth,
know as a PI?
but Mrs. Hawkins, she went to see her doctor very often.
She was sick.
Ah, I shouldn't have mentioned it to you. Forget it.
Her style made her famous. How would you describe it? Tortured?
Yeah? Well, it wasn't normal. I mean, for a young woman with a child and all that. We saw them in the papers and we said to ourselves, who can paint such things? Is that how she sees the world?
So they made you feel uncomfortable?
You need to see them for yourself. Make up your own mind.
I've got what I need.
Anything else?
That'll be all for now.
Hello.
What you looking at, stranger?
I've rarely seen a woman who can hold her liquor so confidently.
What gives you the right to judge me?
It was a compliment.
So what? Let me drink, stranger.
All right, then. Just being friendly. Leave you alone. That's all you have to do, folks. You can be friendly, say hi, and if she tells you to piss off, then piss off. Like, cool. Hello.
Nightmares. Can hear things and voices whispering. Will follow its reader and appear at various locations, gifted with its own consciousness, until it finds a new reader.
The miraculous catch. Apparently, the most significant event of the last 80 years.
The Chanty, 21st May, 1847. The Scylla, hey, the boat that was outside, returns to port to save Darkwater from famine. We had given up hope. The crew of the Scythia, or what remains of it, returned to Darkwater port late on Tuesday afternoon. The locals immediately rushed to the docks to welcome the last whaling ship on the island. People were amazed at the sight of the unbelievable catch the brave vessel had on board. Of a size that went beyond that of the formidable toothed whales. The cetacean that is already being called the miraculous catch covered the whole deck, and parts of it were hanging over the side of the ship. The surviving sailors told a frightening account of their perilous catch, but also of its meat, unmatched in quality and plentiful nutritious benefits. There is no doubt that the immense size of this whale will allow numerous inhabitants of Darkwater to feed themselves, bringing an end to the famine from which part of the island was suffering. Warehouse for rent. Mr. Marks is putting his warehouse up for rent from June for fishing, workshop, or storage activities. You can contact him via your favorite newspaper or visit him on the docks. Special evening at the Stranded Whale. To celebrate the return of our brave whalers, all the staff of Stranded Whale invite you to exceptional and free tasting event. Come with family, friends, to taste the miraculous catch. Each person will leave with a bottle of oil, so don't hesitate. Oh.
He said, "You have no right to treat us like this."
And the doctor, what did he say?
He laughed.
My God.
Charles Hawkins was a heavy drinker. And a debtor. Interesting.
He owed what? Was it $68? Good God. That's a lot of money. Miss Broker, always feed for the lady. Let's harpoon. Hey, friend. Hey, 1 second. I want to ask you something. About the painting. Newspaper article. I'll wait till you come back.
You again. What can I get you?
I read the article on the miraculous catch. Interesting local folklore.
Don't get it into your head to repeat that round here. It's more than folklore.
Oh, yeah?
On that day, the crew of the Scylla caught an exceptional
Scylla,
catch.
my bad.
The biggest whale ever caught. They saved Darkwater from famine.
Hi, author. Yeah, not normally when I would be. Looks at the stream. Well, what happened was, author, I missed my, I tried to do an old world. You okay, Gerben? Yeah, no. I'm normally up at this hour. It's more that I didn't get a stream in at noon, so 12 hours ago. Basically, the whole stream got scrapped due to tech issues. I was like, you know what? I want to stream something before I go to bed. I was like, you know what? Let's do a bit of Call of Cthulhu. I'm in the right mood for it for some reason.
Charles Hawkins owed you a lot of money. Do you know if he had problems?
I don't know the details, and it's not my business. Money or not, he was always welcome in my bar. The Hawkins family was always much appreciated on the island.
Okay. You are close to your mic. Yeah, I have to be because it's rather late and my partner's currently sleeping. So if I get loud, I might disrupt them. Yep.
That'll be all for now.
So I've turned up the mic's actually normally very close to my mouth when I'm on the PS5, but I usually turn the sensitivity way down because I talk rather loudly. But if I'm talking this quietly, I have to turn the sensitivity a lot higher so I can be audible. Plus, I think it fits the mood of Call of Cthulhu. Although I have to be a lot more careful how I move around because everything's louder now. Why is that green? What burns green like that? No, kerosene doesn't burn green, burns orange.
I've brought out the Charles Hawkins cargo manifests. They're on the table next to you. But in truth, you're likely to be disappointed. When you're done, come join me on the deck.
Copper burns green? So copper in with their kerosene? Sit on the table next to me. Oh, over there.
These manifests are signed by Charles Hawkins. But that's all I'll get from them.
Only a few dates are still legible. 1890, 1907, and a partial date. The rest of the document is blacked out. Who would want this information to be hidden?
Broken. This place seems half abandoned.
From here, I see everything that goes on in the harbor. The hard-working lives of my sailors, the fights at the stranded whale. Even the antics of these wharf rats don't escape me.
It's you who lays down the law around here.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I'm just the last serving captain on Darkwater. Tell me what I can do to help you.
I spent nearly 3 hours retooling my mic in OBS. I drove myself crazy. Like, my OBS mic is set, like my normal recording area on my PC, it is a whole recording setup, like treated walls, the mic's in a very particular area. I even have a carpet on the floor to help, not a carpet, but like a rug to kill the sound as it hits the floor. But it's not fully treated, so the sound is still alive. It doesn't have it just avoids the nasty reverb I would have in that room if I left it the way it was. Whereas with my headset here that I use for the console streaming, no camera, but I do have to worry about the headset mic, which is a nice mic. My partner got it, actually, as a door prize for some party or another. And I was like, well, I'll use it. Better than trying to lug my Blue Yeti around.
Your manifests have been blacked out. They're totally unreadable.
Yeah, I saw that. I've got no idea who did it or why. I don't remember having countersigned anything special enough for someone to hide it.
And why obliterate the dates, as well as the goods stored in the warehouse?
You mean that the dates have some meaning?
I don't know. It's not my signature next to that of Charles Hawkins.
I'm at sea for more than half the year. Anyone could have done it during my absence. What seems really important to me is that the dates on these manifests indicate that Charles probably had other contracts.
But not with you, though.
Oops. Oh, no. There we go. Oh, no. Wait. Fiddlesticks. Wait, what? Hold on, I just saw something weird in my notes. Oh. Someone followed me today. Neat. Yeah, I couldn't respond to the message while I was talking. But yeah, you don't need a ton of time. A little bit of sound treatment goes a long way. It's just a matter of placing it in good spots so it has the most effect. Like, I don't have all my walls treated. I have them strategically put around where the sound would most likely reverberate away from the mic. If I want to be super ideal, I'd move them around a little more. But I have like these white tiles on in my front wall, and like some foam bits at the top. I have corner foam, deadens the sound.
I'm looking for Warehouse 36. Do you know where it is?
Look, it's right there. The warehouse is opposite the jetty. You can't miss it.
Understood.
You know who the building belongs to, don't you?
It belonged to the Hawkins family.
Precisely. Ship owners from father to son.
I think that somebody here wanted me to search this warehouse. The miraculous catch. Is it a local legend?
Not at all. It's an episode from our glorious past. Go read the story of the sailor's return to Darkwater Harbor. It's displayed on a wall of the stranded whale.
Officer 2, I'm at EQ and setting my mic levels just right because I think I was going too quiet. Yeah, like my mic settings, I used to be a lot more careful about how sensitive my mic was, but I'd rather go a bit too quiet than too loud. Yeah, because you can always speak up to overcome how quiet you are on a mic. But if you're loud, it peaks, and peaks suck. They always suck. Like on a graph, you usually want to be in the yellow zone. You want to stay away from the red zone as much as possible. I mean, the only reason you'd never be that loud is if you're going for a loud sound, like in certain rock or metal sounds you're going for. But even then, sound quality lives in that yellow region better. Forget the exact decibel amount that is.
I'm just back from the wharves. The dead killer whale is unsettling the sailors.
Ah, yes. Us men of the sea are superstitious folk.
The police took the decision to put the killer whale back into the sea.
You've got to understand them. They didn't know what to do with it.
I think that was a mistake. Who says that whatever caused those wounds is no longer in these waters?
You think we should have kept it?
To look into the real cause of its death, at least.
Get missed messages anywhere between -15 to -5. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Because again, you can always go in. If you're too quiet, you can always speak up into a less sensitive mic. And in post, you can always amp a softer voice. But if you're already loud, if you're already peaking or in the red, there's not a whole lot of room to go. You have very little ceiling to go anywhere without just breaking the voice or the sounds you're looking for, unless that's what you're going for.
Killer whales don't have many known predators.
That's true. And normally, they're not found around here. But, you're gonna take me for a fool.
Killer whales don't go this far
Give it a
north.
try.
Have you heard about the depths? Trenches that plunge into the earth and that shelter creatures unlike any other.
You're talking about mythology.
No, that's real.
Indeed, you're right.
No. There are huge crevices in the Atlantic and the Pacific. Massive canyons and mountains that are beneath the surface of the water. There's actually a whole organization, for the Atlantic at least, about mapping the seafloor as much as possible. And there are weird creatures down there. Maybe not quite Cthulhian, but they are strange due to their environment.
I shall be on my way.
So come back and see me when you've got something new.
I'll read all of these off because I want to get some progress in the story. I'll skim over them and highlight if anything's particularly interesting. So, these people got out of my way.
Cops, they can't understand. Damn stupid idiots. Forget it. Nobody listens to us anyway.
That's no way to treat an omen.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, boys.
You live here?
Why did you do that, huh?
We saw what you did to St. Brendan.
Yeah, we'll teach you to come onto our island and ridicule our protectors.
I've never heard of this saint. Is it a local belief?
But everyone knows St. Brendan, the navigator.
He's the patron saint of whales and whalers.
Oh.
What happened to the statue?
Go see for yourself. He's at the end of the jetty.
There's you, our beloved statue, and then those two bozos behind us. Wait, now that I think about it, it's got to be them. There's one of them who's always going back and forth to the statue.
Quieter. That's all we need for them to hear us.
What brings you to dark water?
The two guys behind you. What are they guarding?
The bootleggers. Scum.
They're protecting their territory. From whom, I wonder?
They really don't have a choice anyway. They're more scared of Cat than an attack by drunken sailors.
If only they would kill each other.
Yikes. Dark?
This Cat you mentioned. Is she their boss?
Hold on just a minute. We didn't tell you a thing.
Nothing at all.
Alright, it's alright.
That statue represents your local saint.
What do you mean by local, exactly?
You wouldn't be looking down at us, like all townspeople do.
No.
St. Brendan. He protected whalers and fishermen like us. Until those assholes defaced him.
Oh.
I've taken enough of your time.
We'll see you later.
Oh, there's the statue. Oh, it's the lighthouse over there. Comforting sight in a dock. Never heard of a Saint Brendan, though. I don't recognize the scrawling. No idea. Don't recognize the language at all. Monk of some kind. With a whale spear. Also doesn't help my EQ with EQ that I am a percussionist and therefore tone deaf. That's why I use DAWs and recording software to figure it out. You can only trust your ears so much. Hell, even if you have a good hearing. St. Brendan the Navigator, circa 484, 577.
St. Brendan, patron saint of sailors and travelers. Desecrated. I can't even say which language it's written in.
Does the patron saint of whales and whalers still protect the sailors of Darkwater? Visibly, there were other gods before St. Brendan, and their worshippers do not seem to be of this opinion. The locals still worship the old saint, but a mark was made on the statue by another cult. Oh, a little rude to... Don't deface sacred icons. Yeah. Generally not good. Very rude. Yep. Very rude. Implies religious tensions. Not of the mainstream kind for this little island. Kind of need to get into that warehouse. Triangle lights this. Circle crouches. X square. Lean. Okay, I can't jump. I was hoping to jump over that thing.
Well, look who's back. Did you miss us?
A little bit.
Peculiar house.
Yeah, that's where we live. Our boat.
Oh, I was
It's not
kidding.
because it doesn't float anymore that we're going to abandon it.
Oh. Well then, I'll leave you
I've
alone.
taken enough of your time.
We'll see you later.
Excuse me. I need to get to a warehouse.
Who's this guy? No idea. You better keep it shut.
Why, we don't have a clear conscience.
Quiet. What's with you wandering around here like a hungry dog?
We saw you talking to the two soaks. Go die of thirst, the lot of you. It'll stink less.
I've got to enter the Hawkins warehouse. I guess it's going to be complicated.
No, it's very simple, in fact. Fuck off.
What?
I don't give a damn about your racket. I just want to get into this warehouse.
And we don't give a damn about you. Whatever your reason for wanting inside, there's nothing we can do for you.
So, who are you?
Are you stupid or are you doing it on purpose?
Everybody knows us on Darkwater.
Not from Darkwater.
I've just arrived.
Let's just say we're standing guard for the owner of the site.
Oh.
And we let no one enter her property.
I went to see the statue of St. Brendan.
What makes you think we did it?
We're bootleggers, not savages.
Who do you think defaced the statue?
What do I know? They could have done it by themselves.
The sailors.
Who else, in your opinion? And who's interested?
Won't bring that up.
I bid you gentlemen farewell.
Lost you for a minute there. Oh. Oh, did the stream kick off or did you drop off? Well, the stream's still going. Oh, I can do raids and stuff from here. Your stream buffered for up for a minute? Oh, weird. I'm taking a wild guess that lady over there is Cat. Well, I'll try asking her. If she tells me to piss off, I'll piss off.
What? Another break?
One of those damn sailors came looking for trouble again.
But he won't try again anytime soon. We gave him a good hiding.
So you said to yourselves that after such a feat, you could abandon your post.
It's just a little drink. We taught those guys a lesson.
We'll return right after. It's just that standing guard in this alley makes your throat dry.
That fool Fitzroy can't keep his dogs on a leash.
I'll have to send him a more clear-cut message. I told you to beat it.
Alright. I was going to ask you nicely to let me in, but I guess I'll just sneak in. They're probably guarding this alleyway, because I imagine those guys are still there. Next week I start my new job, and hopefully I'll be making car payments. Nice. Hi, friend.
You saw what happened with those sailors.
I did.
Don't hang around here unless you want trouble with the bootleggers.
I shall take my leave.
Happy for you. It's always nice to be... Oh, there's a way in. Apply for a car loan, and yeah, I might be able to afford it, maybe. Spot and hint skill. What's audience? Oh, so there's something hidden here.
It looks like there's a way in under this grate.
Do I have to get up there, I suppose? Ratchet device. This part enables heavy loads to be lifted and held aloft without risk.
This ratchet device seems to be usable.
This lever activates a mechanism.
A handle. It must come from these old winches. I could use this old winch to lift the grating.
I'm missing a part. Cogwheel, part of the mechanism.
It should be possible to mount this cogwheel on the winch.
I believe that's the last part. It is. Can you tell from the check mark in the corner there?
Looks like everything is in its place. All I have to do is turn this handle.
Very quiet mechanism. Looks very green and gaseous. I would not want to crawl down there for anything. That looks dangerous to be walking around in. Must be a Taco Bell kitchen. Uh-oh. I'm just coming to the gas. Well, I'm okay.
Smoke. It's coming from this oil. I hope it's not toxic.
A little late to be thinking about that. Wait. Someone's coughing in there. At least water. Oh, damn. I don't want to go in the water. I hate water in video games. Oh. Nope. Nope. Stuff attacks you in water. The thing is, everything that lives in water has better motion than you do. I have no weapon. Holy fuck, holy fuck. What am I looking at? Okay. That was an illusion. That wasn't real. We're fine. Just, maybe you should lay off the drink for a while. It's making you see things.
This is primitive.
Some sort of sailors. Handprints indicating they're human. Traps, spears. Something in the sky. The sun? No, it's green. Yeah, it's very much green. Adults by the look of it. These are fish. A lot of fish. Let's not hang about too much. These guys will mind that I'm hanging around their warehouses.
Ugh, this place stinks.
I need 6 to go up to the next point of strength. To get the feeling I'm going to have to fight in the near future.
What is the connection between this place and the Sarah Hawkins case?
Good question. Hold jump. To enter reconstruction, hold the L2R2. So bright. Much white.
What happened here?
Punched a mirror. Anger? Frustration? Blood. A lot of it.
What is this picture of Charles and Sarah Hawkins doing here? Is this one of Sarah Hawkins' paintings?
The submerged city. While investigating the Hawkins warehouse, Pierce entered a partially submerged tunnel that ran under the docks. There, something took hold of his arm and tried to drag him beneath the surface. Drowning, the detective caught glimpses of human and animal bodies, as well as an underground city. Pierce managed to make it back to the surface to discover that, rather than tentacles, it was seaweed that had wrapped itself around his arm. The vision, nevertheless, disturbed him by its clarity and violence. Officially unused since Charles Hawkins' death, this warehouse recently housed a clandestine resident. Signs of life attest to fact. Presence of blood-stained bandages must also be noted, probably removed from a wound, as well as pills, painkillers, and sleeping pills. Moreover, occupant seems to be obsessed with Sarah Hawkins, attested by presence of several documents connected to artist life, photograph press cutting. But it is discovery of partially charred painting, recognized by Officer Bradley as having come from Hawkins' mansion, that allows all doubts to be lifted as the link between contents of building and Hawkins' case. Ugh. Gross. Tools scattered, unused. Time to get out of here.
Someone has settled in here.
Oh.
And whoever it is has something to tell me about the Hawkins case. Is there anyone in there? You! Don't move!
Hello.
Detective Pierce. I told you to stay away from this warehouse.
It's clear that you knew the victims. I'm sorry to dig up bad memories.
I can still see the poor child lying burned on the floor of their drawing room. We had to tear him off. The marks must still be there. They're in my mind anyway.
It's horrendous. I'm going to need your experience to bring him justice, Officer Bradley. Can you explain what this painting is doing here?
This strange portrait. Wait, I know it. It was in the Hawkins mansion when we came to investigate the fire.
So you confirm that it was removed from the crime scene? Interesting. I'd like to go and see the mansion now.
Of course. You want to go back along his trail? I'd like to understand how this painting made it to here. Come on. My car's parked down the way. Andrews, would you please shut the door?
Shut it yourself, officer.
Eyes, damn it. This guy went right under your nose. God damn it. Her again.
Hello.
This case has nothing to do with you, Baker. Clear the passage or I'll shut you up for obstruction.
Officer Bradley, you've finally grown a pair. Too bad you're too fat to see them down there.
It's not that bad.
Are you?
Come on, keep the smile. You don't want to force me to widen it.
Okay, I get it. Can we go to the mansion?
Who the hell are you? What were you doing on my turf? I've got my eye on you. We'll meet again.
Hey, I tried to be...
This mansion.
I tried to be nice. Threaten the police, you'll get away with it.
Behind you, at the top of the ridge.
Probably, but he could rough me up and leave me in the water.
You see the building?
It's a house, oh god.
Come on.
Scary music.
Got some driving to do.
Pierce managed to get into the warehouse. The place, thought to be abandoned, revealed some surprises. Signs of recent occupation, as well as partially charred painting, interrupted his search by Officer Bradley. Pierce convinced him to join the investigation. The police officer is willing to drive the detective to the mansion. See? A little honey draws the fly better than blood. I don't think that's how that saying goes. It's not a Call of Cthulhu story without you driving up in an old car on a creepy-ass mansion. Well, that's a nice scar you got there, friend. Yikes. Breathing. Someone's hiding. The guy's got a nice beard. For a guy sleeps in his office. But hey, used to be a soldier, so.
Well, here we are. Hawkins Mansion. The place has been abandoned since the fire. There's only old Winchester in his hut.
Ha 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 ha.
He's clearly not doing any gardening.
You know, Silas Winchester has been working for the Hawkins family as far back as I can remember. Charles was like a son to him. The day of the fire, he lost his whole family, so he's got nowhere to go. And, as you'll see, in a way, he's still watching over them. Is there anything else you want to ask me? Or do you want to go up there?
You're the one who looked after the Hawkins case.
Don't think I was trying to hide it. It's just that this discovery shakes my convictions.
Oh?
That's why you're so keen to find out who removed the painting from the mansion.
Yes. If something escaped us, or if there's been a law enforcement error, then it's up to the police to make good its mistake.
Good on you,
Anything
Bradley.
else?
I prefer to be prepared if there's going to be trouble.
It's a wise attitude. But apart from old Silas and some rotten floorboards, there's nothing to worry about.
Could he be a problem?
Strictly speaking, he ain't dangerous. But since the tragedy, he's been a little touched.
Poor guy.
Though he's a remarkably sturdy man, given his age. A true force of nature.
A sad old man doesn't worry me.
He should.
Gee, if you don't want to listen to my advice, we might as well go.
I don't believe the fire is the only reason this house is in such a state.
It's a very old building, you know? Its foundations would probably date from the arrival of the first settlers.
Wow.
It's got nothing to do with Charles Hawkins' debts.
Ha! You've already begun to nose around it, would seem. So, since you already know it, the Hawkins family couldn't afford the upkeep of this house.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen what they did with all their money. I wager it was Charles Hawkins' travels. Let's go up there. Unless you still have questions.
Yeah, the problem with large properties is that they are expensive to maintain. The more territory you have to worry about, more house, more brick, more things can fail.
Night falls quickly here, and I want to be able to see when we arrive.
I'll go with you, if only to reassure Silas.
Appreciate it.
Why not? You can help.
Right. Let's go.
Plus, better to be investigating under police escort than wandering around on my own. Some sort of angel.
Bradley was right. This place is much older than I imagined.
Hillcrop House, built in 1693 by Reverend John Wickwood. Whoop. Hold on. Oh, thank you. She waited for me. Sorry, I was looking at the statue. Why'd you stop?
Charles Hawkins' grave. Who could have done this?
I told you. Silas Winchester is still watching over the Hawkins family.
I must say, it's pretty gloomy.
So,
Oh.
Detective, does this place inspire any thoughts?
Why were they buried here?
I was given to believe that it was Charles Hawkins' wish.
Oh.
Strange idea. I imagine Webster wasn't too pleased.
Mrs. Hawkins' father? It's said that he's devastated.
Let's go to the mansion.
Please give me a minute. I didn't expect to set foot back here after the burial. What kind of deranged individual would defile this sanctuary? And steal a burnt painting? I don't see Silas doing such a thing. Let alone allowing it.
Poor
And
kid.
Lord Baker is above that. Lord, have pity on this poor family.
The flowers on Sarah Hawkins' grave are fresh. The old caretaker must be very attached to her.
So the husband's flowers are shattered. So his grave is defiled. Sarah's aren't. And the child's are not.
Poor kid.
Nothing darker and sadder than the grave of a fallen child. Oh, sorry. Reads. So? Are we going, or? You're the one that knows the way.
The caretaker takes great care of these graves. Charles Hawkins' grave. Who could have done this?
Okay, I guess I'll meet you there.
I'll have to find another entrance.
That looks like the best way to go. Hi, bird.
This entrance is still in use.
Whoa.
Whoa! You were trying to force the door, you nosy prick!
Easy, sir, all right? Put down the axe.
You know what we do with rubble like you? We gut them. Dump them into the ocean.
Whoa. You're Mr. Winchester. Lower that axe. Let's talk calmly.
I'll show you how we have it out on Darkwater.
You can ask Officer Bradley if it's true. He's right behind me, paying his respects at the Hawkins family graves.
Bradley? A good guy. Not as dumb as you think.
Ah, that's right. He'll tell you that we're working together.
Understood. I'm listening.
The police report describes a domestic accident, but Stephen Webster has several reasons to believe that this may not be the case.
Webster is as stubborn as an old mule. And I did tell him that we should let the dead rest in peace.
He wants to restore the reputation of his daughter. I just need to see where the fire started.
No, I can't let you in. The mansion isn't safe.
That's why you barricaded the entrance.
That's right.
And this door?
It's locked, and I make sure it stays that way.
You still put flowers on her grave. You cherish her memory.
Mrs. Hawkins was an exceptional person. She cared for everyone around her.
Let me shed a light on what happened to her. Give me that key.
I'm probably making a big mistake, but it won't be the first. Here, take the key and do what you have to do.
Thank you.
Go on, then. Just to get rid of you.
Let's see what more I can learn from this mansion.
Pierce, shall we enter? Now that you've finished your fun and games with Silas, we can perhaps inspect the mansion.
You're right. Let's go. Let's take a look inside.
I'm with you.
Pierce and Officer Bradley explored the gardens of the Hawkins mansion. The family lies in the graveyard of the property, guarded by Silas Winchester. The old caretaker, still faithful to his employers, keeps watch on the place armed with his axe. Pierce and Bradley manage to calm him down and, finally, get hold of the key to the Hawkins mansion. They enter the building, looking for the scene of the fire.
Follow me. I know the place.
Thanks.
Who left this light on?
Rat.
The Last Supper of the Hawkins. What does this tell me? What kind of meat is this?
The hell is that? I don't know what that is. I'd almost say squiddish, but that's a wild speculation on my part there.
This place is for the head of the family, Charles Hawkins.
Standing up, suddenly knocking over his chair. I feel like there's something else I should be seeing. Oh.
The boy was probably here. Smashed his plate on the floor. Sarah Hawkins didn't eat. Was it because of the meat or something else? Something happened at this table. An argument?
Hey, Pierce. Daydreaming again?
Working, officer. This dinner table tells us a lot about the Hawkins family life.
Well, we don't have all day. The scene of the fire is next door.
Gotcha. He has a lantern. I don't need to waste my gas.
Let's see if I can find
Silas
something the
managed to bring
cops
the
missed.
fire under control, but it was already too late for the Hawkins.
Did it stop at the time of the fire?
10 o'clock?
They had a fight. Why?
Oil lamp smashed.
The child's corpse left a trace. Where are the others? Did Sarah Hawkins lose one of her shoes? How?
Something else to be found here. There's another one. Something else. A bottle?
Was Charles Hawkins a heavy drinker? Did someone escape the fire?
Someone clawed at the door as they ran by. Oh, wait.
If the painting I found on the docks really came from here, how come it didn't burn?
Signature. Sort of this squiddy sort of person.
Blood. This lamp was thrown. This was no accident. This was a fight. Someone fell here. A desperate attempt to flee.
So, Detective, what do you make of it?
I firmly believe this fire was more than just an accident.
Huh. What's your theory?
I suspect a crime of passion.
You sure of that?
There's only one way to be sure.
Crime of passion in the sense that it was a heat of the moment. Like, arson wasn't the main thing, the painting was, or something else. Like, accident, like the fire wasn't the main goal.
I just ask that you don't disturb anything. If Chief West found out about what we're doing, I'd be in serious trouble.
Oh, well, good on you for chasing the truth, officer. History of medicine in the 18th century. Yeah, the fire was a byproduct. Yeah, like it was thrown or knocked over. But that wasn't what was being the main thing. The painting seems more important. This collection of medical knowledge and health practices in the 18th century actually only covers the so-called civilized countries. It does not deal with the influence of holistic medicines or medicines from continents considered inferior. That's just shoddy work, which 18th century medicine. Why take the full breadth of human knowledge rather than just Eurocentric? Oh, medicine progressed at least.
These bandages are covered in dried blood. But whose?
It's quite a building, don't you
An original edition of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, dated 1818.
Oh, this door got knocked down. Ooh, why did that noise happen?
What do you know about Charles Hawkins' activities?
Well, not much, to be honest. We all assumed the Hawkins lived on Charles's inheritance.
A book on the first inhabitants of the island. It seems they got here around the 14th century.
Why are all the lamps lit? Somebody's bloody well here. And it ain't the keeper. He's staying outside. The human body, a comparative analysis. A precise and very detailed treatise on the particularities of the human body compared to the animal world. The simplicity of its writing and the vulgarization of its vocabulary make it accessible to the profane. So, basically, non-doctors can read this and understand what they're reading. Once upon a time, the in-depth study of the human body was considered a vulgar, ungodly thing. Oh, I don't like how there's so many friggin' spiderwebs there. But there's a lot in there. Like a lot. Jeez, they've ever used that. Fireplaces don't develop spiderwebs like that. Spiders don't like fire or heat. They like warm. I'm not profane. You're not sacred, are you?
This piano is in disrepair. Looks like the Hawkins kept it more for decoration than for music.
Shame. It's not a grand, but it still could have been a very decent piano.
Moby Dick, Melville's classic. The epic battle between man and whale.
I really got to read this. I've only known it through reference. Pretty book cover. A copy of the novel Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Classic, especially for our family of ship owners.
Mandatory reading for any whaler, I guess.
Yeah. As a maritimer, I feel bad I haven't read it. Huh, crooked.
If you're right, we should be able to find clues among the Hawkins' personal effects.
How close are you to the Atlantic? If I may ask. Me? Oh, heck, real close. I could probably get to the Atlantic inside of 2-3 hours. Easy. Because I'm in New Brunswick, so I can very quickly get to the Atlantic. I can get to the... Well, I can get to the Bay of Fundy a little quicker than, say, the open Atlantic near PEI. Well, this letter's not doing me anything.
Darkwater history. This place was settled back in 1692 by two families that seceded from the New England colonies.
1692. Well, that's before the rebellion. So this would still be the British colonies. Well, it would have been back then too. Off the coast of Boston. But they separated from the colonies. Why? It's to your benefit to be part of the colonies generally, especially in a land that you're not familiar with. Unless you have relations with the First Nations tribes in the area, but God, it'd be... Which, you know, some colonists are really good at it, and some weren't. Oh, nothing in the cup. looks
There's
creepy.
something disturbing about this painting. There's something disturbing about this painting.
The breaking of the earth? Shattering of a ship, perhaps?
20,000 leagues under the sea. Another story about the mysteries of the deep.
Ooh, a rare edition by Jules Verne. Well, rare edition, like 20 leagues. You can get tons of books. It's like paperbacks and stuff. It's illustrated. Ooh, that would make it quite expensive, even at the time. Cover's nice. Nice. Can't be jumping at shadows. It's already scary enough things in this world. What is that? It's like shattered glass. Or light through something. So many books. Some strewn about the floor, which makes me sad. Whoop.
Greek mythology. Hecate, goddess of the dead, daughter of Tartarus, and mother of Scylla.
Ooh, that's actually a pretty good painting there.
What could Sarah have done to make this person threaten to call the police?
Dear sir, as you know, I've always held you and your family in high respect. Unfortunately, I can no longer continue to close my eyes on the behavior of your wife. Last week she, again, terrified my clientele. I know that she means no harm, but you should place her in the care of Dr. Fuller. He alone seems to be able to make her come to her senses. If these disturbances were to recur, believe me that, although it would feel like torture, I would be obliged to involve the police. Respectfully yours, Anton Wellard. Bit demanding, but people with no faces. Whoa. Whoa. That's a shattered railing. Gotta be careful of that. That's the front door. I'm very much a believer in not having light when I don't need it. Unnecessary light draws attention to you, especially in a dark place like this. Climb over this? If I can, he's unwilling. Hi, rat. Fine.
Locked.
Empty canvases. That's a scratch mark. Sometimes you need light. Something's hidden here. Where? Ha. Office key. Burned. More canvas. Something came from there, down, went this way. Or the opposite is true. That is a magic circle. What the hell? It went out that way and to the left then. What the hell? Yeah, I'm voting standing in the center for any length of time.
This ledger lists all of the paintings Sarah Hawkins sold.
Boston client, $230. JF, $170. 200, 230. FS exhibition, $350. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Upwards of $1,000 from January to April. And then May to August, JF, 270. FS, lots of expositions for FS, 270, 410, 250 for a Boston client. Weird that it's not naming the name, just Boston client. It's a weird way to keep your ledger. What year is this? It's 1920 something. 24, I want to say. 26. 24 sounds right. Painting for Dr. F. That's Fuller. That's a guy who works at the asylum, I assume. $430. That is a lot of money. Hell, look at this. Painting for FS exhibition. One of them is worth $1,160. Then another one of $1,680. AD. Okay, it's a little freaky. AD. $500 returned. The guy who sent the letter. Dr. F. Treatment. Nothing. The Shambler for FS. Gift. So, January to April, she's selling at best $350. But from May to August, she goes to... JF is paying a little bit more. But then whoever the exhibitionist is starts paying exorbitant amounts of money for these paintings. That is a ludicrous amount of money for a painting. Unless they're really, really good.
It seems the last one was given for free to a Francis Sanders. I wonder why.
I do not want to be near that circle. These candles were lit. They melted for a long time. You see all the drippings. Scorch marks? Not blood marks. Too black. Weird. Oh. Door?
The door is blocked on the other side.
Here, go get the officer. Let him know what I found. Man, you easily could have paid up $68 Owens. Like, making that much money off your paintings? I mean, come on. There he is.
Did you hear that?
Hear what? It's lightning, friend.
What do you know about Charles Hawkins' activities?
Well, not much, to be honest. We all assumed the Hawkins lived on Charles's inheritance.
Okay, you don't have anything new to tell me. Alright then. guess I'll check out that weird door at the end. Or I have to go into the circle, which I don't want to do.
What will her room reveal about her?
Hope chest. Books. Dressing shield.
This padlock is too complicated for me.
Maybe there's a key somewhere. Anything back here?
A barbiturate prescription from a certain Dr. Fuller.
Dr. Thomas Fuller, Riverside Institute, Darkwater, Massachusetts. 07/21/24. 75 milligram, good God, 75 milligram of ammobarbital sodium to be taken every 4 to 6 hours as required. If attacks become too violent, add 25 milligram phenobarbital up to 3 times a day. Do not consume alcohol. Yeah, it's a barbiturate. Bad idea. Do not consume alcohol or any other medication during the period of treatment. Dr. Thomas Fuller, Take 2, General Store. It's a lot of medication.
That's a massive dose.
Yeah, really.
Was Sarah violent? Barbiturates. Sarah Hawkins must have been extremely agitated resorting to such a treatment.
Barbiturates, they act as a depressant of the nervous system, but once you begin, you can never live without them. Or that, I know something. So says the main character. I am not a pharmacist. But, as I said, mental health consumer, so I've learned about what pills might be useful to me, what wouldn't be. I think I've never had to take anything terribly strong. Lucky me. Like, I've taken some SSRIs and stuff, so something that messes with you, but nothing like super strong like a barbiturate. Good God. My character can tell that there's something else hidden in here. I've been on SSRIs and Adderall, yeah. I think I had a expert who was very careful on dosage because they knew how careful I was about it. So, Sarah Hawkins' sketches look more like a gallery of horrors than anatomical study. Does they represent what haunts her nights? Sketchbook. Oh, I have 7 character points. I spend those on my strength. So I'll be able to defend myself in case I do get into a fight.
It's no use. The padlock won't give.
Well, the metal must have gotten too hot after a while.
This door is locked.
I need to be careful with alcohol. I already have a low tolerance. Yeah. Generally, everyone should be very careful of alcohol. But yeah, if you're on... And SSRIs can really mess up when you drink. Yeah, you have to stay away from that. You have to really watch it. Otherwise you... Oh, I don't like how dark it is in here. Don't like it, don't like it, don't like it, don't like this, do not like this, do not like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. Alright. Toy ship. That's pretty. Yeah, a little fort. Little soldiers.
Boys' room. A child's fort. From what threat was Simon protecting his world?
Toys are cool. Give you that, kid. What's that?
Tom Sawyer. Mark Twain. Sarah must have read it to him before bed.
Pretty cool story. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Ah. Yeah. Creepy story, that.
Sleeping pills. Strong for an 11-year-old
Wow,
boy.
shouldn't be giving
What
sleeping
was
pills.
wrong with this family?
Yeah, really. That's incredibly strong stuff for a kid. Like, medication in general for children, you have to be super careful because they have much smaller bodies and they're developing.
What nightmarish vision could have inspired them? Simon's troubles went beyond family problems. That kid saw something. Something terrified him.
There's something in here that's hidden. Oh, there it is.
The argument that led to their tragic end seems to have been simmering for some time.
Simon's private journal. He seemed worried about his mother and her attacks. Tension also seems to be growing between the Hawkins couple. Could the fire be the result of an argument? What? Huh. This would be the husband's room, I would think. Strange that it's knocked over like that. Oh, I can ask the officer. I have some insights now. Maybe he can help illuminate me.
If you're right, we should be able to find clues among the Hawkins' personal effects.
That's the barred door to the front of the house that leads up to there. What's that? It's heritage painting or photograph. So many spider webs. Trying to see if I missed anything.
This door is locked.
The room of the fire. Barred doors. Broken banisters. What am I missing? Going over in my head where I've been. Make sure there's nowhere I haven't already looked.
This door is blocked from the outside.
Really should clear that debris. Just so it's easy to move around. This hick cop. That's rude. Wait, missing something? Oh, knowledge. Maybe there's some other door I haven't seen? It was a dark and stormy night. feeling there's somebody else hiding here. It's not the caretaker, it's someone else. Someone who's sleeping in the warehouse. Someone who likes Sarah. And knows about the husband. In the painting, it showed that she was defending herself from something. But what? And if so, isn't that a failure? Oh, I don't want to look in the circle. Clue? Yeah.
Was Sarah Hawkins interested in the occult? What was she trying to achieve?
If the creature is not yet anchored in our dimension, an expulsion ritual might work. As long as the person performing it makes sure that he integrates the elder sign among the glyphs that make up the ceremonial circle. Be careful though, because the works that describe this creation of such circles are not all of proven reliability. Extract taken from Malus Beastorum by Abigail G. Malus Beastorum. Malus Beasts. Oh, wait a minute. The circle was made. This is a containment circle. Were you trying to expel an evil? But it failed. Knocked over some of the candles, broke the circle. Looked at all these, looked over there.
The door is blocked on the other side. Bradley? Is that you?
Nope. Officer Bradley.
Did you hear that?
Bradley, follow me. I saw something weird.
What do you know about Charles Hawkins' activities?
Well, not much, to be honest.
You're useless.
I assumed the Hawkins lived on Charles's inheritance.
Bye now. It's been 4 hours, right? 3 hours? No. I don't want to go down there. It's going to be a creepy monster or some nonsense or a jump scare. I know it's going to be. Hope I have to progress forward. Oh, man. Thank you, camera. What? That's you, buddy. That's not good. That's weird. Oh, hello.
You! Stop!
Bradley, did you see which way he went?
Who? I didn't see anyone. I just heard some noise. Are you all right?
A man was hiding on the upper level. He ran when he saw me. He can't be far.
I'll cover you.
Oh, good. We can keep.
This door was closed earlier.
Yep.
Where did he go?
Oh. Filled the oil in my lamp. Good.
It looks like an old seaway map.
Somebody has added coordinates to this old sea map. They make up a journey. Let's see. Dark water. Hold on. This looks like a whaling route to me. Florida. Somewhere in the Caribbean. That's a route that makes sense. And up the Maritimes, around Nova Scotia, past Newfoundland, northern. Yeah, New Brunswick could be a thing by now. Up to just south of Greenland somewhere, off Labrador. Then there's a route, transatlantic, going to the Azores, I think, up to, well, not London, but some port in England. There's another route from Darkwater. "24 north, 46 west." I'm not sure what's there. 16 north, 24 west, 28 north, 16 west would be Barbary Coast type route. Going to Portugal. Sicilia is the solid red line. That's the one that went up to Greenland. The Prodigal did the Barbary route. The Orpheus took the Caribbean route. And the St. Claudine went to England. So I'm trying to find where that whale went, where the miracle catch was. 33 north, 53 west. I can't think of anything that's there. It's just open water. Which, if you're whaling, right? 33 north up to 57 north. 53 to 51. That's looking for whales. Anything on the back? Oh, just kicked the book. I'm okay. Oh, sit back down. There we go. I was pretty far away from the screen, so I couldn't read the lettering right away.
Do you really think that your fugitive came in here? I don't see any way out.
Seems like this came from a log.
Better a book than a bucket, yeah. Monday, 24th, 1847 May. 47 north, 70 west. To kick, that is. Oh, haha. Darkwater Island. We sailed north all morning. Captain Hamilton is confident. He says that we'll beat the Orpheus this season. May God be merciful. Sunday, 30th May, 1847. 47 north, 55 west. I preferred it when the whales disappeared without trace. With these carcasses, we can no longer ignore their sad fate. What is eating these huge beasts? I told Hamilton that was a bad omen. He doesn't care. Tuesday, 1st June, 1847. 49 north, 61 west. We dropped anchor near a village. The inhabitants say the waters are red with the blood of sacred beasts, and to follow them is to defy gods. I told them I only feared God Almighty, but in the loneliness of the cold, I'm scared. Friday, 4th, June 1847, 57 north, 51 west. We sighted a huge whale in the distance. Its size seems to be beyond anything known to man. It sends out an infernal song. Hamilton wants it. Moby Dick is a good cautionary tale, friend, but, I mean, if a whaler is going for the biggest catch of lifetime. Wednesday, 23rd June, 1847, 33 north, 53 west. We caught it. It's the most grotesque whale I've ever laid eyes upon. It will go into memory as the biggest catch ever. Men have died, but we have gained glory. This day will be celebrated for years to come. Tuesday, 29th June, 1847. Dark water. We have beaten the Orpheus, returned with empty holes. The Cilia and the Hamilton are only memories. Wait, I thought the Cilia caught the miraculous catch. But this would be the, What? Hold on. 23rd June to 29th? 23rd June, they catch the biggest whale of their life. And what? 6 days later, you get back to dark water and you don't have it. And what happened to Hamilton? I agree. He was the captain of the boat. What happened to the captain? What happened to the Cilia? Well, Cilia looked like it wrecked. Because you see the wreck when you come into the dock to dark water. It's a big old wreck, too. With whaling boat, ship. Those things are huge. They have to be to haul the whale out and butcher it and so on.
There must be a link with the Seaway map.
Thanks, Pierce. I figured that out. Actually, hold on.
There must be a link with the Seaway map.
Yes. What was the coordinates? 33 north, 53 west.
Looks like the navigational paths described in the log.
Whaling ships are big, but not as big as a Klingon bird of prey. That's the log for the Cilia. 33 north, 53 west, right in the middle of the Atlantic. Way out there, too. Deep ocean. So they went up, all the way up to near Greenland, came back down and caught it. Man, that was the last leg of their journey then. What happened between 33 North and Darkwater? Not our thief, but I did see something hidden.
This Dr. Fuller, was he Sarah Hawkins' therapist?
Charles, I understand your worries, but I assure you that Sarah is in good hands here at Riverside Institute. It goes without saying that her state requires very specific care, a high level of attention. Her full potential will only be able to express itself if she is placed in a secure environment and surrounded by qualified staff. The decision is yours, of course, but I seem to understand that you are running out of time. At that moment, fires a code, it pings off an invisible wall, an alien spaceship hovers over your ship. Nope. Your friend Thomas Fuller. So Dr. Fuller wanted to commit Mrs. Hawkins. Why was he running out of time? She's making money. She's the moneymaker between the two of them.
They look like Celtic runes. Charles must have brought them back from one of his foreign trips.
Small polished runes, decorated with Celtic runes, probably used for divination rituals. They are mostly found in Europe. I'm not familiar with Celtic runes. I know more about some of the Nordic runes, which are related but different. It's a different thing in its own right.
As if the bookcase has been moved several times.
It's a hidden door.
This globe seems to have been part of some mechanism.
Look, Ma, a hidden door.
Doesn't work. I must have missed something. Clearly, Charles Hawkins knew Captain Fitzroy very well.
In this photograph, Charles Hawkins and Captain Fitzroy are posing with a third man. They seem close. Yeah, the coordinates in the log. It has to be.
I wonder who the man with the glasses is in the photograph. Probably another friend of Hawkins.
I'm gonna look for, whatchamacallit, the hidden items in this room before I start fiddling with that door.
The Scylla. It's the boat that was stranded at the entrance to the harbor.
Ooh, 3 masts. Big ship. Man, that must have sat deep.
This panel is movable. Cogwheels. They must be linked to an opening mechanism. Probably a secret passage. I must find a way to activate the opening mechanism.
Thanks, Pierce. No, don't
I'd
Pierce.
be better off not touching them for the moment.
Yeah, I'm not going to force it. There's a way to do it without forcing it.
It looks like a freehand map of dark water. Certain areas have been highlighted. I wonder why.
A map of dark water hand-drawn by Charles Hawkins. Some places have been circled. Makes no sense to me. I don't know the island well enough. Aha!
Why are these letters here, and not with Sarah Hawkins' belongings?
These letters have been opened. Is Darkwater a real place? I don't believe so. It's, in story at least, it's off the coast of Boston, to give you an idea of location. Pardon me, sorry. These letters have been opened, but visibly have now left Charles Hawkins' office. They are tied together by a carefully knotted braid. Why did Hawkins intercept his wife's mail? Big yawn. I'm a little tired, which is a good thing. Part of the purpose of streaming. At the moment, at this hour. I'll give it another half hour. So... okay. I know what you need to do, but do you realize what you need to do?
Looks like the navigational paths described in the log.
Yeah, I should get my contacts out soon. Riley's actually out here somewhere, but that's not the focus of our journey, and Pierce wouldn't know what that is. So... oh, there's the markers right there. 45. I know that's not it. That's 45.
Doesn't work. I must have missed something.
Even staying home, I've been wearing contacts again just to be able to use them when I go out again. Yeah, I don't like contacts myself.
There must be a link with the Seaway map.
I've always been, whatchamacallit, attached to my glasses. Wait, 33 north, 53 west? 33 north.
Looks like the navigational
53
paths
west.
described in the log.
33, 55. 33, 55. That's 45. That's 60. It's gotta be about like here?
Looks like it worked.
I've been using contacts recently because of a face mask and cold weather. That makes sense.
Well done, Pierce.
Thank you. Tunnels under the Hawken Mansion. Inside the Hawken Mansion, the scene of the fire revealed its secrets. Pierce and Officer Bradley, now on the trail of a survivor, have undertaken to search the place, looking for proof. When a hooded man leapt into Sarah Hawkins' workshop to steal a painting, detective and police officer set off after him. So this leads to the Batcave, right? I really wish it did. It probably leads to something far worse. By following him to the office of Charles Hawkins, they discovered a secret passage. Pierce and Bradley enter the tunnel under the mansion.
Secret passage, under the manor. It's like a detective novel. That guy must have already gotten far.
Yeah.
And he had a direct means of entry to the crime scene. We must find him.
What is this place? It's more than just a tunnel. Look. Someone's been here recently.
3 seats.
I do like how investigative focused this game is. Like to me, that's Call of Cthulhu. It isn't fighting is not your goal in Call of Cthulhu. Your goal is to figure out what's going on. Bradley's Fio's milking that Boston accent hard. What? You Boston people don't talk like that? I mean, there should be more cursing, but still. But I like how in Call of Cthulhu games, a lot of the game is supposed to be about investigation. Find out as much as you can about whatever it is you're dealing with without going mad. And choosing whether to deal with the problem or realize that you are way in over your head and get away from it. And if you do get away from it safely. That's a weird looking thing.
Did Charles Hawkins use this place? Who were the others? What is this mask supposed to represent?
I presume some sort of god or spirit. Yeah, I like games where the answer is not always roll to attack. Yeah. Knowledge is power. Embrace inspiration, beware revelation.
Whatever Charles Hawkins hid here, he didn't want it in his house.
That said, I was the dumbass who turned a star system into a fire blender. Well, you know. You said it, not me. So 1 tick on my stellar death counter. It almost looks like a Mary statue, but the person holding the child is wrong. Squiddish to me. Then again, I know I'm playing Call of Cthulhu, so I'm being a bit more... Ugh, that looks vile.
This piece of cloth is unmistakably from a dress. Was Sarah Hawkins here?
Can I improve my investigation skill? I need one more point to do it. Got some perverse pleasure of making the Gungnir go fishing in that fire blender. It was a 10 challenge die piercing fishes per round. Plus whatever. Oh, hold on. When I'm doing this, I don't have my phone set for the watching the chat, so if it's a longer message, I might miss it. Oh, well, I'll just leave it here for now. Although I did cause 4 structure breach, so whoops. Oh, that's why you were asking about whatchamacallit. Places for them to repair.
This symbol. What does it mean?
What does that mean? I'm not familiar with it. Some Cthulhian mark. Oh, there might be a whaler spear. Yeah, the downside of learning more about the occult of Call of Cthulhu is you imperil yourself with knowledge that could drive you mad. Especially if you do any spell casting. Alright. Oh. Not the lantern. Just... It was just all bad rolls. Keep in mind, too, actually, for their ship, if the port is big enough to actually repair them. Because you need, like, I think the port needs to be 1 or 2 scale bigger than they are, or something like that. No, half again, I think. I'd have to look in the books. But I know there's certain size requirements. I think your ship, the Gungnir's a 4, so it's not exactly huge.
Of course.
Locked.
And something tells me that the key is climbing these steps. There's tunnels all over this island. Given the size of this cave, there's got to be other entrances.
Have it again to take them in, or have a dedicated dry dock?
Might as well start with that.
I ain't gonna squeeze in there. I'll find another way. If possible, I prefer not to ruin my uniform.
Gungnir skill 5. Kira's are pretty beefy.
Go look for another entrance. I'll try my luck down below.
Yay, we're by ourselves. No. I get the feeling if we didn't bring the officer, we might be trying to change fate. Because we saw in the vision that he was, an officer was involved in attacking the, person. Oh man, I do not like this. I was hoping for like a crawl space or something, or a squeeze way. Dang it. Oh, hey, there's somewhere. This game using the Call of Cthulhu tabletop rules? Yep, it is. To some degree, anyway. Neat. I like it when they can adapt tabletop to video games. Yeah. That looks like a dream catcher to me.
Some kind of dream catcher. If I touch it, it'll turn to dust.
Yeah, I'll leave it alone. Catches bad spirits and dreams. Plus, I don't want to touch anything that's up there anyway. That's an emblem on the wall.
An old diary.
In this volume, there's mention of the beliefs of the lost tribe. They worshipped an entity that spoke to them in their sleep. The whole tribe seemingly disappeared in a mass sacrifice in glory to the deity.
Sad way to go.
Crushed underneath the rocks.
These paintings must be several centuries old.
It's a cracking of the earth like that painting. Shattering. Something big. A whirlpool, maybe? HP, you're cute, developers. Whoa. That looks like a carving to me. Look at this thing. That would take a lot of work for a stonecraft, even one with modern tools, to do well.
These people lying down. Are they dead? Are they asleep?
Great beasts swirling about while people lie down. Dead or waiting. I gotta watch for little tiny pinpricks of green, because that could be a hidden item.
These buildings seem to have come out of the water.
Is it because of the creature? Or are they in response to the creature? I'm keeping my head down so I don't run into these dream catchers. That's why I'm crouch walking. Plus, it makes my footsteps a little quieter. Okay, we can probably stand up again. Hop. Game saved, and I'll use that 6 point to improve my investigation skill. Validate. I'll have to wait for the officer to find his own way in. Itch, itch, itch. Itchy ear. It is drawn on sheets of paper hidden in a safe, itself hidden in a tunnel under the mansion. The symbol was repeated on the paper, its form becoming more distinct with each attempt. I do not know what Charles Hawkins tried to represent with the symbol. One thing is sure, it was important in his eyes. Extract from Notebook of Edward Pierce, Private Detective. Disappeared tribe. A tribe of men, worshippers of the sea and its benefits, landed on the shores of an island surrounded by dark waters. They were discovered by the creature some called the Devourer of Whales. For years, the creature hunted them down in their dreams, until their weakened minds surrendered. Following the creature's orders, they sunk into the dark waters surrounding the island, and never came back. Extract taken from Malleus Vestiarum by Abigail G.
Time has weakened these structures.
Move gently. For the weak shatter on strong footfalls. I'm also listening very carefully for footsteps or breathing.
I don't have time to search them all.
Another green flame.
What's going on here?
Piers!
Keep your voice down. We're not alone.
Good God. What have you got me into?
Good question.
We'll see. I'll go on. Try to go down on your side.
Yeah, there's a passage. I'll meet you at the bottom.
Trying to hurry a little bit so the poor officer isn't on his own. Get the feeling I'm going to get that poor cop killed. That's a painting of Pierce. Probably does have red shirt energy. Well, I saw a vision of him being killed, or a cop being killed.
A table for sacrifice? A mass grave. An engraved whalebone. A strange creature has been carved into it. Probably a figure of worship. Locked.
Of course it is. That was uncomfortable. Looking into that deep pit there.
A table for sacrifice?
He gets jumped from behind. The pit of horror.
I got it.
Oh, that ain't fish.
Oh, I can't breathe. What's happening?
Some places make you panic. Flee the place as fast as you can. Got it.
No, damn it! I must find a way out of here. No, damn it! I must find a way out of here.
Oh, he's freaking right out. Fucking where? I forgot where I was supposed to go.
No, damn it! I must find a way out of here.
Crawl space.
Is it my turn?
Yes. It is time. You will soon be one of us. If your body and mind are ready.
I dream of it every night. I have constant visions. I am ready.
Good enough. Prove it to us.
It's like in my dream. It seems to have been used recently. Probably some sort of ritual.
I found this dagger in the tunnels under the Hawkins Manor. Its owner left it behind when he went with the other hooded men. Hey, I'm an amateur occultist. Not sure how good that is.
I can't read Latin.
Annotated Bible. We're okay, we didn't lose that much sanity. Yeah, that was a good time for a panic attack. Yeah. Being surrounded by viscera and death. An old Bible. Numerous passages have been overwritten or annotated. Strange way to study the Holy Scriptures. I got something down here last time. They're loading something onto this boat. What?
You who sleeps, accept this dream under your immortal will.
Ya Cthulhu Nithsiha Fitag.
Nope, that's bad.
Grant him your flesh and accept his, so that his body and yours may be one.
Yibithink Hupadk Cthulhu Bithinkor.
Grant him your mind and accept his, so that his mind...
I feel him.
You are gifted indeed.
We need to not be here.
Bring me more sacred through every part of you. All you who sleep, we pray for your return into the kingdom of the earth.
We are ready for the ceremony. What about your protege?
His awakening is complete. He will join you shortly.
Scotty, now would be the time to beam me up. Yeah, really. Come on, come on. Like, let's not take draw the attention of a bunch of cultists. Even in Call of Cthulhu, one lucky shot could really make your day really terrible.
Bradley, what are you doing here? I saw two odd-looking guys coming down. Seemed up to no good.
From one ceremony to another.
What in the world is this?
Shut up, man.
Intruder! Oh, shit.
Bradley's gonna die.
Don't move! Police! Don't move! I won't hesitate.
Bradley, get back!
Shoot.
Get back!
You asked for it. Charles, you shouldn't have seen this. Ah!
Run. Oh.
It's all caving in. I need to get out of here.
Running. Ah, crap.
My leg.
No ambulatory. Sorry, we can't stay here. Broken leg in a cave. If you just sit there, you're just gonna die from the infection. Oh, something died in here. Wow, all the cultists got killed in here. That's what you get for worshiping Chthulu, you guys. The way out.
Light. At last.
Damn it. That light is green. I don't like it. Riverside Institute. Pierce and Officer Bradley followed the intruder to the secret meeting place of a cult set in a network of underground caves right under the Hawkins Manor. They witnessed a strange ceremony led by Charles Hawkins, very much alive. Bradley tried to arrest him, but Hawkins, whose body displayed various mutations, disemboweled the police officer. As he tried to escape from him, Pierce found himself a prisoner of a rockfall. Rushed to the Riverside Institute. He is in critical state. And it is from there I will stop. Normally I would do full 4 hours, but I know I should sleep. And I don't know if I'll get through Chapter 5 in an hour. But I actually quite enjoy this. It's actually pretty good. There was a Call of Cthulhu game that came out quite a few years ago. That was like, it had a lot of run and gun bits, but also had like talkie bits. This thing, I haven't had a single fight yet. I've basically been investigating, puzzle solving, and trying not to die, which, hey, welcome to Call of Cthulhu. That's mostly what you do. I mean, you can fight things in there. It's just generally a bad idea, because when you get hurt, it takes forever to get healed. And as evidence here in Chapter 5, poor Pierce is like Officer Bradley went like shoot, and it's like, it took damage. Charles probably got hurt. He just has too much HP or DR of some kind, damage reduction of some kind. He just soaked the hits. And, friggin' Pierce, he gets hit by some rocks, and already he's like shambling around. Now he's in critical conditions. Like, yeah, he ain't leaving that hospital anytime soon. But with that, I thank you very much. Thank you all very much for watching. And probably be playing something different at my normal time for Tuesday. I just did this as a sort of one-off. Well, not one-off. I might follow up on this again at some other time, some other midnight hour, to continue the story. But until next time, have a good one.